Final notice to Lara Croft, a current tenant of premises. This is to serve as your final notice for the purposes of terminating your ownership of Croft Manor. You are required to immediately vacate and surrender possession of said manor to Atlas de Mornay, executor of estates.
Lara, it is unfortunate that you have forced my hand in this matter, but so be it. As you know, your parents appointed me executor of the estate in the event of their absence. Since your mother disappeared, her death was never technically declared. And given the circumstances surrounding your father's death, it's no surprise that he never drafted a formal last will and testament to account for this circumstance. Unfortunately, you have no legal claims to the estate. I'm willing to negotiate a modest monthly stipend from your trust, but only if you leave the manor by week's end. Don't fight me on this, Lara. Your mother wouldn't want that. Sincerely, Atlas.
There has to be a will or some kind of evidence of what happened to Mum in the manor, somewhere. Dad's safe. Needs a combination. It's got to be in Dad's papers somewhere. Maybe in the library. My birthday crown. I was so proud of that thing. That's my handwriting. My penmanship was pretty good.
Well, this is a hell of a thing. I met someone tonight quite unexpectedly. But it shouldn't have been, it seems. I've been so buried in my work.
My parents made a good team, challenging each other from the start. Dad would have liked me to go to Oxford, but I insisted on UCL. Yep, looks real. Roth once offered to forge me a fake diploma to show Dad. A picture with Dad and Anna. Never liked wearing dresses, but the color was nice. This is probably my grandfather, Benjamin. One of Dad's Yoruba masks, a gift from a friend he met on an expedition in Nigeria.
I finally introduced Richard to the family. It went precisely how I imagined. Icy but polite grace from Mother.
It must have been hard for Mum to go against her family's wishes. I'm glad she did. Dad's map of the forgotten cities of northern Syria. He was closer than he knew to finding the Prophet's tomb. Dad's book about immortality myths might be useful in my research. Need a combination for this lock. door. To the library. Locked. There's got to be another way through. Dad's artifacts from the Nile Valley. I always loved looking at these. Dad became interested in immortality myths after his expeditions to Egypt. This is the map I made for my first expedition with Dad. It shows a path to the library through the servants' passages. Wait, I can get to the library through the old servants' corridor. Too dark. Going to need a flashlight.
Hi, Dad. I've been thinking about Mum lately. I wish I knew more about her. How did you...
Lara, I've reviewed the report from your therapist. I have to say I was surprised to see a clean bill of health. I somehow...
Well, hello there, Sir Lancelot. Don't worry, you won't be boring your sword this time. The Grand Hall. Always loved playing in here as a kid. This will be one of the first things to fix. A phoenix figurine. I bet this appealed to Dad's idea of immortality. Oh. This belongs to Anna. Most of her belongings are in the guest house. What was she doing in here? Someone has a sense of humor.
Lara, you know the West Wing is off limits.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to see...
We've been through this.
Was Mum's room in here?
Just stay out of there, darling.
Dad was always so protective of the West Wing. Locked. Need a key to open this.
What are you doing sitting there on the floor, Mistress Lara?
Looking at the compass, thinking.
What about, if I may inquire?
Just thinking about discovering faraway places. About finding a...
The author came in the post.
I'm sure you will, my lady. You've the soul of an explorer. But don't grow up too fast.
Got to remember to pack this for my next trip. Hey Jonah, sorry for not getting back to you sooner. I've decided to do some research at the manor. A lot has happened and I need... Should be able to explore the dark now. another one of Dad's immortality.
Lara, since your return from your expedition to Yamatai, I've grown increasingly alarmed at your erratic behavior. I can only assume you suffered some kind of psychological trauma and are only acting out as a call for help.
Not sure. I really need to brush up on my ancestors one of these days.
Amelia, the news has reached Mother. She knows that you broke off your engagement with the Earl of Farringdon. She is beside herself with worry. But, for the moment, she's controlling the narrative. As far as anyone knows, you're just having innocent second thoughts. But the moment your affair with Lord Croft goes public...
Falling apart. Maybe I should just let my uncle have this place.
They say a good test of a...
I'm not surprised he asked her to marry him as soon as he got the idea.
Amelia, I know we have had our differences in recent...
Still just as creepy as I remember.
My lord.
Poor Winston. I remember being so angry. He was always so patient with me.
I'm at a crossroads now. Good Lord, that's such a cliché. But there's truth in it. Two roads before me. Both present...
Everything is all...
King to Queen 1. I'm going to win this time, Winston.
Clever girl. But you should know by now, winning isn't everything. Queen to King's Bishop 6. Check.
Easy for you to say. You always win. Knight takes Queen.
What I mean to say is try to enjoy the journey, Lara. Don't rush to victory. Bishop to King 7.
I know, Winston. I just want... Oh no! I didn't even see that!
You should also know by now, I'm not to be trifled with on this board, young lady. Mate.
Oh, I am going to win. Someday.
I would play chess with our old butler Winston on this board. Never could beat him. I always chose white. Maybe if I let him go first once in a while, I might have won. Dad loved a good bottle of wine. I can still smell his favorite Bordeaux.
Dad, this is it! The basement of despair!
Indeed, Lara. Muster your courage, for this is the only path to the Library of Infinite Knowledge.
Look there! See the string?
An ancient Egyptian tripwire. The Keepers of Knowledge want none to disturb their treasures. We must tread carefully.
Let me lead. I know how to spot all the traps.
I'm sure you do, my darling. Lead on!
My stuffed bear. I couldn't have a tomb without a mummy. One of the wire traps Winston made for my birthday expedition. Winston used my hair ribbons to make this. He and Dad put a lot of work into this birthday surprise. Water damage from the main hall above. This bust of Anubis was from Dad's Egyptian collection. He must have put it down in the basement for our little expedition. Plans for adding electricity to the manor. Dad used to say his granny hated all the bright lights. There's a missing page.
Amelia left tonight. She packed her suitcase and walked right out of here, and I didn't even notice. Like those days in the Oxford Library before we even met.
Okay, Dad's ledger has to be in here somewhere. Hopefully it has the combination to the safe.
I've created a clever little map for Lara's birthday expedition. I used the invisible ink Amelia picked up for me in Morocco so many years ago. At the time, I remember being so annoyed by that rather aggressive street vendor, but she just smiled in her sunny way and paid him without a second thought. I assumed it was just a tourist scam, but it actually works. Turns out it requires a very specific kind of vellum and a heat source to illuminate the ink after it's dried. It should prove a nice challenge for Lara to puzzle out.
One of Winston's notes. He always hid sweets for me to find. I remember this now. Each district in ancient Egypt had a symbol and a number. I always preferred these symbols to the actual number hieroglyphs.
Now, let me see. These two myths are referencing the same source material. But where did I see this image?
This was always one of my favorite books in this library. I used to trace hieroglyphs.
Dad, I think it's this one, in the chapter on Egyptian districts.
Why, yes, I think you're right, Lara.
I remember the page with the illustration of Ra.
My goodness, you've been paying attention, haven't you? This could be an important breakthrough.
Does this mean I'm your research assistant?
That and more, my darling girl.
Takes me back. Those were good times. The best times.
I've reached the monastery. As
Dad was looking for an elixir. Was it the elixir of life?
For God's sake, memorize the combination, you fool. Lara's expedition treasure, my favorite painting by Amelia, the day of our wedding anniversary.
Okay, got to find those objects to figure out the combination to the safe. There's something else here. This is my handiwork. I used to love drawing pictures of tigers. Spent so many hours in here, reading, dreaming of my own adventures.
I always accepted that Richard's rather unorthodox research was just something I had to live with. But this time, the thrill of discovery has taken hold of me. I never imagined I could be drawn in this way. Richard cabled to tell me he's found the monastery. The symbol we deciphered in the scroll was the key to its location. I don't know if I honestly believe that this will lead...
This music is familiar. It's beautiful. It appears Sir Reginald's helmet fell off. Or didn't I put it back properly? Dad's lighter. I don't remember him ever using it, though. The Croft family crest and initial. Okay, should be able to light the fireplace now. Took quite a tumble off of this old thing when I was a girl. Still feel it in the shoulder from time to time. Blank, except for the image of a key. I remember this map now. It leads to the master key. We made it with a special kind of invisible ink. It could only be seen with the heat of a fire. I can see the map. Looks like the key is hidden under a trunk near the bookcase. X marks the spot, as they say. The master key. This should get me into the West Wing. All right, this should open most rooms in the manor, including the Forbidden West Wing. The Pharaoh's crown from my birthday treasure hunt. How old was I again? 6? 8? I think this hieroglyph corresponds to a number, but which? Okay, Dad's clues mention Mum's paintings and their anniversary. Hopefully I can find some answers in the West Wing.
Mistress Lara, I took the liberty of preparing a tray, as dinner did not go according to plans.
After everything...
I think this was Dad's pocket watch. Looks like it stopped precisely at midnight.
Has done. How could you tell him about the expedition?
It's just all been too much. I needed to talk to someone. He's still my brother.
I don't trust him.
You don't have to, Richard, but please, trust me.
I'm sorry, my dear, but I know him. He'll take it to the papers. The investors will pull out.
Then go. Without me. Tonight. I will take care of Atlas. And then meet you in Tibet next week.
I was so young, but I still remember that terrible argument. It wasn't always an easy road for my parents. This is Dad. I suppose it's a family tradition, but I can't imagine having one of these made. My mother's perfume. The smell. So familiar. I can almost remember her. Mum, on her wedding day, she looks so beautiful. There's a date, October something. Damn, the number is faded. Their anniversary was in October. Which day? I can't believe I don't know this. There's got to be another clue somewhere. I remember this. Dad gave it to Mum on her birthday. October 13th, Mum's birthday. Pretty sure my parents were married in October. I think it was close to her birthday.
I believe it took this trip to push me over the edge. I've been able to see Richard in his element, seeing him at his best and his worst. I've experienced the purity and chaos of his passion, and I came to realize I want his passion in my life every day. So it's done. Richard wanted to wait another 4 days until my birthday, but I wouldn't have it. Once I make a decision, I prefer to get on with it. So we found a small chapel in Luxor that was just right. And with Roth and the others at our side, we married as the sun set over this remarkable land. Mother will never forgive me. Atlas will forever resent me. But I don't care anymore. I'm free of de Mornay obligations, free to pursue my own passions and live my life.
Mum's wedding ring. I always wondered what happened to it. The inscription is faded.
I am bursting with pride. Amelia is with child. It is amazing how everything in life can change with such a simple event. Obviously, we don't know the gender, but already we've discussed possible names. Perhaps Benjamin, after my grandfather, or maybe Griffin. He was more infamous at Croft than even me. No, Amelia wouldn't have it. Besides, she's certain it's a girl. She favours a classic such as Scarlet or Kate, though I've made some headway with Lara. A subtle nod to the sun god Ra, and our days in Egypt, where certainly this child was conceived. I find myself thinking about this new life we've created, of how much she might be like us. For all my research into myths of immortality, I may have...
Dad may have discovered the secret to immortality without even knowing it.
Amelia would not have approved. That alone should have been the end of it. But I am, as God made me, a stubborn fool. I locked all the West Wing's doors, and I shall not open them again until either my life or my obstinacy comes to an end. The night before, Roth told me I would someday change my mind.
At least that old thing still works. Starting to see things.
My lord, we all hope your work was well received at the conference and look forward to your return. As is so often the case with these missives, I wanted to call your attention to an incident involving our little angel. It seems that Lara has been the subject of some ridicule amongst the other girls at school. From what I can gather, some of the other young ladies were teasing her for being too much of a tomboy. You know how Lara can get when pushed into a corner. Let's just say they won't be bothering her again. But I do think their words have had an effect. I believe Lara has been missing her mother lately. She's begun to worry that she isn't like the other girls. And having grown up with only a father, it shouldn't come as a surprise that she has trouble relating to them. I wonder if this new friend of yours, Anna, is it? Perhaps she might prove a welcome influence. It might be worth bringing her to the manor to meet Lara. In any case, I'll let you...
Mum's atelier. Dad sealed it soon after she died. Untouched for years, exactly as she left it.
I stood up to my family's criticism, stood in defense of Richard and our love. But as my new life began in Croft...
I don't have any memory of this. I wish I could remember doing this. Mum died too young. Mum with me as a baby. I've never seen this. Hard to believe I was ever that small.
You've almost got it, darling. Here, let me show you. Like this, see? Well done, Lara. Well done.
I wonder how my life would have been different had she lived. Mum's paintings. Which one was Dad's favorite?
I returned home this afternoon to collect the last of my paintings. I suppose I should say I returned to my family's home. Atlas was there, in one of his foul moods, and even as he dripped venom for Richard with his cruel barbs, I could only laugh. To think that I once listened to my bitter brother in matters of my own happiness. My dismissal only served to infuriate him more. I left him there in Father's study, muttering to himself. On the drive back, as Winston took a longer route through the country, I looked through my paintings, Richard's favourite one among them, a simple abstract with blocks of red. I smiled, thinking about giving it to him. I was happy, and I was going home.
Okay, back to the study to open that safe. This was for a show in London of Mum's work. What I wouldn't give to see this today. It says here, Amelia Croft plans to show her work in New York. I wonder what happened with that.
Lara arrived tonight, though not without a bit of drama, but all is well. She's a healthy, beautiful baby. I've never seen Richard so happy. I'm sure he'll be celebrating with his favourite whiskey tonight. It's calm and peaceful now. Just the gentle...
I'm glad I still have so much of Mum's work.
Dad, what do you keep in there?
Nothing too important, Lara. Estate business and such.
If it's not important, then why bother putting it in a safe?
I should know better than to try and pull one over on you. There is something important in here. And it's for you, should you need it someday.
Well, let's hope you came through for me, Dad.
I returned home this afternoon to collect the last of my paintings. I suppose I should say I returned to my family's home. Atlas was there, in one of his foul moods, and even as he dripped venom for Richard with his cruel barbs, I could only laugh. To think that I once listened to my bitter brother in matters of my own happiness.
For God's sake, memorize the combination, you fool. Lara's expedition treasure. My favorite...
I believe it took this trip to push me over the edge. I believe it took this trip to push me over the edge. I've been able to see Richard in his element, seeing him at his best and his worst. I've experienced the purity and chaos of his passion, and I came to realize I want his passion in my life every day. So it's done. Richard wanted to wait another 4 days until my birthday, but I wouldn't have it. Once I make a decision, I prefer to get on with it. So we found a small chapel in Luxor that was... I returned home this afternoon to collect the last of my paintings. I suppose I should say...
Okay, found all the clues. Let's see if I can figure this out. That worked. It makes me happy to know that Dad kept this safe. No, that's not what I'm looking for.
I am numb. It is taking all my willpower to hold back the overwhelming grief. Amelia's plane crashed in the mountains. She died alone in the snow, waiting for me to find her. Oh God, not her, not now. I cannot accept it. Life without her is too painful to imagine. I know what must be done, and I am resolved. I'm going to bring her back. Perhaps this is why I am here. Perhaps this is fate, a test of my faith in the truth I've sought for so long. Roth will fight me on this, but I can't face Lara. I can't look into her eyes unless I try. I must try to bring Amelia back. The monks are preparing the elixir now, and then we will see if all my years of hunting this truth was for naught.
Dad, what did you do? Dad's sequel to his first book on immortality. He never got a chance to publish it. Handwritten. This is the only copy. Damn, this isn't it either. I was certain there had to be a will. Here. Wait, what's that? A blank page. Dad must have left this for me. It has to be important. A hidden message. What are these strange marks? They have to be some kind of clue.
I've...
A hidden mess. The Pharaohs. I remember this. I remember this now. Each district in ancient Egypt had a symbol and a number. I always preferred these symbols to the actual number hieroglyphs. A blank page. A hidden message. hidden message. Locked in. Did Dad build all of this just to keep his research safe?
It's over. I have done all that I could, and my Amelia is still cold and dead. Roth first scowled at my designs. Then he pleaded with me not to go through with the ritual. Not because he feared it might work, but
You brought her home. She's here, somewhere. This was part of a set of statues Dad found in China. He thought it was linked to the Temple of Xian. Perhaps I should look into it someday.
Richard, I tried to see you in person last week, but your manservant hustled me away like some common tout peddling silverware. He told me you are heartbroken and you're not yet ready to see visitors. He told me...
Dad's collected knowledge. There must be so many secrets. There's an inscription. This is the Croft universe. Our knowledge is to the east, our respite to the west. Our future is to the south, our past is to the north. Our past to the north. Could there be something else beneath the manor? Might be able to use this to access other...
My love, it is silent, so peacefully silent now. Even after the madness and chaos of the crash, I can't help but still wonder at the beauty of these mountains. I understand the magic that drew you here. Please know that I feel no pain in this moment, only immense sadness.
Mum faced death alone. She was so brave. The missing page from the renovation plans. They didn't want anyone outside the family knowing about this crypt.
the renovations are proceeding in secret. The work crew Roth hired for the job have been paid handsomely to keep the details of the job out of the records, so I'm fairly confident no word will get out about what I'm doing. I've been careless with presenting my findings, attracting all the wrong sorts of attention. Roth thinks I'm being paranoid by building this secret vault, but I know I'm being watched. My work is too important, and potentially too dangerous. It can't fall into the wrong hands. I need a secure place to keep it all safe.
Amazing. Even in here, Dad went out of his way to hide his findings. Dad's Tibetan scroll. I remember he used to pore over this late into the night.
Hi, Dad. So I know I only just returned to school, but when can I come out to the dig site again? It's just so boring here. We're doing all the stuff I already read last summer. I always end up staring out the window and thinking about our expeditions, and then I'm yelled at for daydreaming. I promise I'll be good and not disturb you and just work wherever you tell me. I just miss it, Dad. And I miss you.
The Croft family crest. west. Our future is to the south. Our past is to the north. There's an inscription. This is the Croft universe. Our knowledge is to the east, our respite to the west. Our future is to the south, our past is to the north. There's an inscription. This is the Croft universe. Our knowledge is to the east, our respite to the west. Our future is to the south. Incredible. This crypt was here all along.
I expected a sort of crushing finality to grip me when we returned to the manor to lay Amelia to rest. Indeed, once the last of my funereal duties were performed, I fully believed that I would crumple to the ground next to her and expire, not from grief, but succumbing to the terrible exhaustion of the last few weeks. Instead, as the mausoleum stones slid into place, I felt a sort of peace and energy, one that I confess caught me entirely off guard. This was not...
My God, can it be? Dad, you did bring her home.
My dearest Lara, it is difficult to write this, knowing these may only ever be words on a page to you. I wonder if you will remember my voice. Will you remember the way we used to play and laugh? Will you remember me comforting you when you were sad? Know that I'm still with you, Lara. My energy, my love. It's within you. It always will be. Use that energy to pursue your passions in life. Never let others determine your journey. You become who you are through your choices, through the love you give and the promises you keep. I hope you are happy, that you are loved and successful in whatever it is you choose to do. I am proud of you, my darling. Remember me, with all my love, your mother.
What's this? A letter.
Lara, I have received the notarized affidavit confirming Amelia's grave and the discovery of the burial crypt within the manor premises. While I can't fathom why your father would hide your mother's fate from her own family, I cannot deny that any legal claims I may have had on the estate are now null and void. Croft Manor and the remainder of your father's assets are now yours in perpetuity to do with as you wish. If there comes a time when you require assistance in managing the estate, I hope you will consider contacting me to retain my services. Sincerely, your uncle.
I've been so focused on defying my uncle, of fighting to keep his hands off this manor, that I never realized how much this place actually means to me. But since I've been here, I can feel the presence of my mother and father. I sense the entire history of my family and the deep roots we have in this place. I want to honor my parents. I want to honor all of my ancestors. The Croft family may be all but destroyed, but I will make our name and our home great again. My great-grandmother Rose, nicknamed the Golden Rose for her perfect reputation. I wonder what she would have thought of me. This picture was taken in the library. 1820 additions to the main hall in progress.
Lord Croft is resolved to seal the west wing of the manor. I try to talk sense into him, but he will not be swayed. And to make matters worse,
The broken sword I brought back from Yamato. The Atlas, such an amazing piece of craftsmanship. Sophia insisted I take it home with me. I can still remember the last time I fired these